Test, test. Good? Hey everybody, it's me again. Not so much people anymore, but doesn't matter. Let's go through this. So, my name is Voshi. Again, I think you were all here during the last presentation, so you already know an intro. And today I'm going to be taking us through the grid as a whole, from the experiments to the academy. I don't have a monitor working with the notes. So I kind of Frankensteined a few of the presentations together. First one being the original grid experiment one from Breakpoint, and the second grid experiment, and finally the academy one. So it's going to be a bit all over the place because parts of it were done by our amazing designer, and parts of it were just me throwing things on there. But I think the most important question to understand how fast I'm going through the first part, which I think is the most funny, but I think some people heard it, is who knows about the first grid experiment and heard me talking about it before? Like 50-50? Okay, then you are going to have to endure that part too, because I think for the new people that's going to be the more important stuff, and hopefully we're going to fix the slides soon too.
Are they launching a token?
Yeah, at the end of the talk, everybody gets an airdrop, as usual.
Yeah. An airdrop I take over your equipment.
Sorry? No, I removed it this time. Some other people don't know well enough to ignore it, so. Oh, here we go. So, let's start. We are going to start from the clicker not working. This talk is going great so far. Are you guys enjoying it as much as I am? This is the weirder of the experiments I had so far. Am I too far? Perfect. Thank you so much. And finally, here we go. We're going to start from the grid experiment. So, the story starts as a good continuation from the last panel. During a season that back then we called the shitcoin season, or now they would say a meme coin season, which were like short spans during cycles where people would go crazy about meme coins. And as you could hear from my previous panel, I very much think that the meme coins are not really a net positive for crypto as an industry. And this was around May 2022. Solana was doing like in a bear market slow, but all of a sudden things started happening with meme coins, and all of a sudden a few weeks where everybody was launching tokens. You had like tens of launches per day, which back then seemed like a lot. Keep in mind, now we have that per second. And I kind of got tired from it. And one of the evenings, somebody asked me, do you know this guy? I'm like, yes, why? He's launching a token. Of course he is. And it kind of became a thing where you just go like, why is everybody doing this again? And this story is going to go through how we got to this, where I got a Breakpoint speaker slot in Amsterdam, and how we got to Slope Wallet tweeting manifesto. For you that don't know, Slope Wallet was a wallet on Solana that managed to lose their users' funds by leaking private keys in a text format. So it started one night where I decided to make like a sarcastic tweet with the hopes of just kind of my way of telling people, why are you doing this? This doesn't make any sense. So I made a joke, say, are you guys ready for greed? Put the two regular standard bait sentences after that everybody was using at the time. And my expectation was people are going to say, nice joke. We maybe are going a bit too crazy. But that didn't work. I woke up the next day with 200,000 views on that tweet and a lot of DMs, and people were thinking I'm launching a token. So my notes are in Greek letters now, which is very challenging. Amazing. So I wake up. The expectation was some people are going to maybe fall for it. Most people are going to know it's a joke. I'm going to come next day, say, haha, of course it was a joke, but apparently everybody thought I'm launching a token, except like one person who sent me a DM and said like, nice joke, Foshi. So next day I'm like, if I say haha now, I'm the one looking like a fool, not them. So how do I fix it now? So I decide to double down, still in Greek. And I say...
That's in English.
This is in English, but I'm missing some of the slides here. Yeah, this is not... Sure. I'm just gonna tell it. The next day I tweeted, I doubled down and say now quote retweet this by saying something like I'll do anything for greed or something like that. People again didn't really understand the joke and it went even crazier. And that tweet got like 500,000 views. And it got worse and worse. And then at what point I still have only... Okay, we're gonna try. I was trying to find out how to get out of this. It was still just a joke. People were falling on. And I was thinking, how do I teach these people something? Because clearly this is not clear enough for them. So we decided, I started having some ideas in my head, and we decided to push it even more forward and make a website where they can claim their greed, prove their greed. And with working with a few... Oh, so this was one of those tweets where I said, quote, retweet this and say, my greed is endless. And it again exploded. So I got 2 developers to work on it. This whole thing lasted only 5 days. They made a smart contract in a few days and made a website. They showed me the website. It was even a bit too nice, so I made them make it more shady on purpose. Like, do the spacing that's not even, use an uglier font. We bought the domain that was called greenconsume.me, so to make it super clear. And on that site, there was 3 things. Sign in with Twitter, connect your wallet, and claim your tokens. But when somebody would press sign in with Twitter, we would ask them for the full right permissions to their Twitter account. Meaning we take full control of their Twitter accounts. We can delete anything, post anything, change pictures, whatever, right? And then, and only after they accepted this, they had a chance to connect their wallets and claim their greed. When they were claiming their greed, they had to sign a transaction which wasn't being able, like simulation was always failing. So they were signing a bland transaction, meaning that that transaction could easily drain their wallets, and they still signed it. After that, step 4, share on Twitter. Wow, your greed truly has no boundaries. Click the button to share on Twitter. We prepared a nice little tweet for them that got tweeted around 40,000 times. that was kind of the launch day. So during that time, during those few days, I never said actually that I'm launching a token, never used those words, never promised anything, never said, and I was even trying like actively to make it super clear that nobody should participate in this. So like Soft Money, one of the people from the ecosystem, tweeted, learn to be aware of greed, it's super powerful. Just because your friends are doing something, you shouldn't. I retweeted that. Then somebody else said the only utility of shitcoins is making the founders rich. I retweeted that. I was like trying to be very clear that this is something nobody should ever do. And then I even tweeted things like I created a simple cheat sheet how to play the shitcoin season. Like if you are the one launching it, or if you're a bot, okay? Otherwise, don't. Like very simple. And then when we launched that website, people started noticing the right permissions on Twitter and started going on Twitter asking, like, why are you asking for this? Are you crazy? And I was actively responding to them with answers like, are you for real? Don't you understand the security concerns of it? I said, I do. The question is, does everybody else? Are you serious? This is shady. What's your response? My response is, are you greedy enough to do it? And then these perms are a little excessive, don't you think? I do. 55,000 wallets signed the transaction. Greed as a token became the top 30 token by number of holders on Solana at the time. Those tokens were frozen in everybody's wallet. So nobody could trade them, nobody could do anything with them. And the number of tokens that we put in everybody's account is this very specific number of 8 billion, 7 million, 300, whatever. Remember, it is going to come back soon. And then after that all happened, we had 43,000 Twitter accounts that gave us right permissions and 55,000 wallets that connected, because even though we said you cannot do one by the other, we were not actually stopping people by using the same Twitter accounts for two wallets. They were thinking they are outsmarting us. We just wanted to, everybody who can participate to participate. And then the thing started. I tweeted the claim period is now over. I hope we managed to learn some things. It would be awesome if some of the subjects of the greed experiment now publicly let us know how they feel. And we pressed play on tweeting through all of those accounts that we created, a manifesto saying, I connected to the unknown website, I signed a blind transaction, somebody could have drained me, I gave my Twitter permissions, I will do better. And a lot of big accounts from the ecosystem ended up apparently giving me their Twitter permissions, with Slow being definitely the funniest, considering they literally didn't tweet in 8 months before that moment, since they disappeared after losing users' funds. You can just imagine somebody behind that account thinking like, this is how I make the money back or something like that. It's weird. And then, considering the Twitter API didn't allow us to tweet through all of them at once because of the limitations, we're thinking, why don't we let people tweet by themselves? So we changed the website to step 5, wear your badge of honor, and tweet a statement was just tweeting the same thing that we tweeted from all accounts through them. 20,000 people decided to still click that without reading and tweeted it. So during those, and this was open for 24 hours, we had 304,000 page views. This is the chart of daily active addresses on Solana versus Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Polygon. Keep in mind, this was at the time where Polygon was more active than Solana. Things changed since then. But this spike was greed. Then the same data website removed greed from their charts because it was like a clear outlier. So they decided to scrap it. This is activity of smart contracts on Solana during those days. So you have like Magic Eden, Jupiter down there, and then that's greed. So during those few days, this was me waking up 2 nights after it started. I got like 500 new followers. I was like, look, I have 3,000 followers. 2 days later, I had 35. The engagement was crazy. Like this is like 5 million impressions in like 3 or 4 days or something like that. And greed was the top trending thing on Twitter for a day with over 1 million tweets containing greed. I caught the screenshot on 988K, but people reported they saw it on top with over 1 million. And I was apparently managed in like 4 days to become like the second global reach NFT profile on Twitter. This then got covered by most of the big crypto media, CoinDesk, Binance, and everybody else wrote about it. And now we're going to go back to the number of tokens that you remember we put in everybody's wallet. So it's frozen there forever. They cannot do anything with it ever. And if you Google that number, you find out that's the phone number of SEC. And it says, if you need any advice on your investments, you should really call that number. So back then we were joking that this was one of the rare Solana tokens with actual utility because at least it's a permanent SEC phone number in people's wallet. So back then also funny things were like Solana was way less active than now. People were reporting that their friends from Ethereum and Cardano was for the first time asking them, they heard about this greed, and people were teaching them how to install Solana wallets because of that. And then some of the funny parts were my DMs were completely swamped after the first day. I got like over 500 DMs, mostly asking how do I put money in presale. Nobody was asking me what the token does, what's the supply. The only question was how much can I put in, right? Like how much you want, how much can I have, right? Like it's, and that was a lot of these kind of situations, which I think showed me very well some of the main problems that we have in crypto, which is when people feel FOMO and hear about something, they don't ask questions, they just want to jump in without doing any research. Nobody at any point asked me anything more about the token, about the plans, about anything. It was just how much I can put in. And I think definitely we should do better than that. So some funny messages that happened after that I found funny is how people in this space definitely don't read or pay attention. So this is a situation where we tweet through his account. Somebody asks him what is happening, and he does not know what happened. So he didn't even try reading the tweet that came out of his account. Like if there was only a way to find out what happened literally in the message above. And then some angry people, and like no one cares to read this. After tweeting from his account, he is still asking if you're launching or not. And this is like a few examples out of way more. Oh, it's safe to revoke. So this is also a funny addition to the story. People gave us right permissions, and then on Twitter people started saying, man, just give them the permissions and then go to Twitter and revoke the permissions, which is a horrible advice, because if we wanted to really hurt somebody, the second they give us the permissions, we can have our backend to do whatever we want with the accounts, right? So it's a horrible advice. But because we wanted to push it more, after we saw that people are giving this advice and revoking, we actually tweeted, by the way, if you revoke your permissions before, you're never getting your tokens unfrozen, which was, again, not a lie. Nobody got them unfrozen. And then we got, I think, 4,000 or 5,000 DMs asking how can they give us permissions back, because they don't know how to do it. People are really mad that we didn't launch a token. People were telling me I'm just stroking my own ego. Some other people told me that they already know I'm a rich American dude. So why couldn't I make them rich? And the simple ones, like just a few. So after the whole thing happened, it like exploded. Some people were angry, but a lot of people were very like thankful and saying that they learned a lot from it and that they actually changed their their OPSEC, how they look at things, where they throw money, how they are careful what they're signing, what they're connecting. And I was expecting this to last for a few days and everybody forgets here. But through a few weeks, I kept getting DMs about it, visiting conferences, people kept saying like, I have to tell you, I actually changed how I do things, how I handle wallets. It was very nice. And then Frentech came out like 3 months later. Things settled down before that, and Frentech was asking all the right permissions when you first signed up to use it. And when that happened, I got tagged on Twitter like dozens of times per day saying like, did Voshi teach us nothing? Which was like very cool to see because clearly people remembered and were not comfortable giving Frentech their permissions because of what they learned. So we wanted to kind of find a way to educate more people, but clearly you cannot make this kind of experiment every day. And the first thoughts about an educational initiative came to mind. There were some talks about doing it by getting a grant from Solana, but it kind of got more complicated than I thought it should, so it kind of died down slowly. And then we come to the real grid experiment. So we are now, the first grid experiment happened in May 2022. And now we are in like January. No, sorry, not 2022. 2023 was the first one. And January 2024, the meme coin season starts happening again. And it's going the regular old way. But around March, something new starts happening. Things change, and instead of just launching meme coins, people start posting their wallet addresses on Twitter and just expecting people to send Sol to that address as a pre-sale. And this exploded quite quickly. Zach XBT even did some research here. And first 33 tokens that launched like that on Solana raised $150 million from that. 796,000 Sol, which would be way more now, right? But like a crazy amount. And this was like, people would just say, send Sol here, post the address. Or then be super smart. Don't sell Sol here. Brilliant. This bothered me again because I saw this as even worse than before. And I got tagged on Twitter a lot of times around it. So I decided to just try to be funny and repost the same first tweet as the last time, hoping people are just going to remember the first grid experiment and say like, yeah, maybe it again went the wrong way. And then I tried to make it so clear that I reposted the exact same tweets in order and even made DS and soft. Like both of them were off Twitter for 3 months. I asked them to post the same things that they posted that time so I can repost it. So my timeline looks exactly the same as it did last time. And it again didn't really work, and people were hyped about me launching a token again. So we were thinking about how to deal with it this time. I didn't really want to do the same thing again. We had this big initiative in mind before, and we were thinking, what now? And then the idea came to mind. What if we do something different this time? And we looked a bit about ideas, what could fund an educational initiative sustainably longer term. This is a new screenshot, but we looked at the validators and understood that Solana, with activity going up, validators are making not bad money. and maybe people would support education if we created a validator, let people stake to it, and put all of the profits into education. But from what we learned from last time, nothing makes people as hyped and the word doesn't spread as much as if you don't make some kind of a shock surprise moment. So how do we do it this time? And we started, planning the whole thing, putting the puzzles into place. So the first step was to run a validator that funds education. Second part was to let people, somehow make people lock and stake. And this was kind of driven by us discussing like what would save these people in this new meta. And the idea was all of these people would profit if somebody would just like take their soul and hold it until this thing ends and give it back to him. So how do we do that? What if they just take their soul? But if you just make them stake their soul, they're just going to unstake it. What if we stake it and lock it for some period of time? And then the third part is mostly influenced by me knowing AthensDAO guys so well and having so much fun learning about governance here at the last AthensDAO, was let's make them be able to unlock their soul, but let's set up a DAO so they have to vote, like they have to vote to unlock it. And finally, let's find a way to incentivize people to stay and learn instead of unlocking. And then everything fell into place. We found finally Triton as a partner for our validator. They were awesome and pretty much took on all the risk for starting the validator on them and promised to take zero profits from it and everything would go into education. We made a website, this time a bit nicer, that again had select your wallet to start. It had sign in with Twitter. Clearly, we gave them a imaginary multiplier, give us right permissions again. So everybody did. And we asked them to deposit the amount. So we kind of, same thing, like you're sending Sol somewhere, but in a safer way, right? Again, we didn't say we're launching a token ever. We just kind of, and we again continuously warned that they should not do this. And when they did this and when they signed this transaction, what actually happened is no soul actually left their wallet. We just created a transaction, created a stake account for them. That got delegated to our validator and locked until breakpoint. So the stake account lock cannot lock it to a validator. They can always move it. They just cannot unstake that soul for a few months. So we never took custody. It was always in their wallet. It was just in a different state. And of course, some of the funny messages from that time. Again, pre-sale, people asking to get refunds. What about the first greed? That guy still didn't read his manifesto that he tweeted a year ago. And where to purchase it, And then one of my favorite ones, if your intent is to show us how dumb we all are again, we already know. I have learned a lot and made zero behavioral change. And then 2 months later, asking for the whitelist when we actually got to launch. Some of them who actually recognize probably what's happening, which is nice, at least more people than last time. And then the day come, a lot of people did it. 1,530 people did it, with a total amount of around 6,000 sold. We set up a DAO, and this was a long process that Dean and the Realms teams can know a lot about, because for this to work, Realms didn't have a plugin that would allow frozen tokens to vote. So Realms team worked hard for a few weeks to actually create a whole new plugin that would allow this to be possible. We created a DAO, and we told them they can all unlock. Out of 1.6K wallets, we said that they only need 15 votes to unlock it. And it's still, some people didn't manage to understand what's going on. But at the same time, what we announced is the first semester of the Grid Academy with 6 amazing partners, which donated $100,000 worth of prize pool. And we said that everybody who decides to stay locked and learn and pass the 8 lessons are going to split the $100,000 between all of them. So, again, some funny messages after that was announced. You're a pig, you're a fucking scammer, and so on. Like the usual. There's like dozens of them. Like I have my whole inbox is full of those. It was a very interesting learning experience. The DAO for people was, I think some people enjoyed it, more people didn't. Some people decided to stay locked. And here is where we finally come to the last part, which is the Grid Academy. We announced the formation of Grid Academy as an educational initiative. This is a part of the presentation that didn't talk for 30 minutes before. And the first semester had partners that donated this fund, and the whole premise was very simple. If you had your soul staked and locked there, you can participate. If not, you still have a chance to lock some soul and participate, so we don't discriminate against people who didn't fall for that thing. And the person who was our valedictorian, whose tweet you can see here about how the first semester ended for him, there in the green shirt, actually earned $5,300 for participating and learning in the first semester. After the first semester with 8 lessons that we did was done, we doubled down. As I already said, the Grid Academy Validator is what funds all of the operations. And the interesting thing is, even though we only had 6,000 locked soul from the experiment, after me announcing that this is a validator that all profits go to education, in a few days we had 30,000 soul. Keep in mind, out of the 6,000 souls, by the end of the same epoch, 2,000 soul was removed from our validator from people. And a few weeks later, we were sitting on 900,000 soul, which was at that point in time worth 153 million, now way more. This is a Hong Kong Hacker House presentation, so the numbers are a bit old, which allows us to definitely do a big difference, even though our validator is taking 0 commission on inflation and 0 commission on MEV. So the only thing that validator is earning is block rewards, which, like, we are completely a non-profit, everything gets put into education. I think the validator peaked at 930,000 soul. After being in that situation, I hired the whole team to actively run this. New website, new design. I think most of the people involved are actually here. Our amazing designer, our developer, our director right now, our head of education. Everybody is there, and you can learn from all of them tomorrow during the class. We started with bounties, weeklies and monthlies. We are giving out tens of thousands of dollars per month to people who are just writing educational content or applying for grants for education. We have a website where you can, learn, stake, and earn. That's kind of our motto, where you can find all of the opportunities to earn. And we have big plans for the future, and we are very excited about tomorrow, where we are going to be doing the newbies beginner crypto onboarding course. So everybody here who is new, the idea tomorrow, we have a 5-hour course that goes from assuming that you never had a crypto wallet or understand this space, teaching you about the basics, teaching you how to install the wallet, teaching you how to safely store the seed phrase, make some first transactions, a first transfer, a first swap, a first stake, some explanations about the next steps you can take. And everybody who finishes the course tomorrow, now a big reveal, Soulflare and Bonk, our partners for tomorrow, are gonna award people who complete the course with, I think it's now worth around $95 per wallet. Soulflare giving each person who finishes point to soul, and Bonk giving everybody 1 million soul in their wallet. So everybody is invited tomorrow to come. What did I say? Million sol would be better. Sorry, a million bonk. A million bonk. And one more thing is an announcement for the first time ever. Semester 2 is happening, and we're proud to announce Solflare as our main sponsor for the second semester. And Tin from Solflare is going to take the stage after me. Very happy about that partnership, and I believe we're going to do amazing things in the future together. So very excited about that. So yeah, once again, everybody who is new in crypto, I think what we have prepared tomorrow is perfect for you. We start at 11:30 in the auditorium on the 7th floor. There is a Luma link going around that you can sign up, or you can just show up. But the idea is to stay through the whole thing. We're going to have a special website where you can connect and confirm all of the tasks. It's going to be very fun. And yeah, we would like to see you all there. And finally, getting involved, depending on who you are and what your interests are, definitely follow Grid Academy, visit our website. And if you are somebody that's building in this space and wants to contribute by either doing educational content or integrated educational things into your platforms, reach out. We probably have money for you or can help. If you're somebody who just wants to learn, come tomorrow, and after that, visit the website, be ready for the second semester. And if you just want to support, if you're a project that wants to possibly support the second semester, reach out. Otherwise, staking with the Grid Academy validator is, I think, the best way for everybody to be a part of it, because you're earning top-level APY on your SOL, especially when Trump launches a token. Because of how big MEV tips are, we were doing like 15+% APY during that week. And yeah, so like inviting everybody to stake with us, it gives you one of the top performing validators on Solana, and it gives us the opportunity to fund more educational initiatives. And yeah, I think that's it. That's me on Twitter. If you want to follow me, that's my company that I'm not representing today, but also kind of important. And thank you so much for listening, guys. And I hope you enjoyed it and I didn't go way too long.